Hey guys! So the developments over the last few months got me wondering if there is a way to forecast or quantify a pandemic. Like, is there a quantifiable algorithm that can describe how a disease spreads? If we could figure out what this algorithm is, then it might help us predict what will happen next during this time of crisis. Such information would be critical for professionals on the clinical side, who are making informed decisions around the world about how to protect our communities and provide aid to those who need it, from ramping up hospital capacity to discovering new medicines. After a lot of research, I've discovered a few things. It turns out that labs around the world basically use three methods to track the spread of different diseases. The first is called Nowcast, which provides a prediction of the current number of people infected. Labs gather recent and historical data from the CDC and other partner organizations, including flu-related Google searches, Twitter activity, and web traffic on medical sites. Those data streams are then fed into machine learning algorithms to make predictions about the disease in real time. An example is ILI nearby, or influenza-like illness near you, which is a project made by the Delphi Research Group at Carnegie Mellon University. The second type of prediction is based on machine learning and expands on the Nowcast method. This ML forecast takes the same information as Nowcast, but adds an additional 20 years of historical data from the CDC about the flu seasons in the United States. The third type of prediction is based on a crowdsourcing method. This prediction model taps into a group of volunteers who every week are asked to log on to an online system and review a chart showing the trajectory of past and current flu seasons. They are then asked to complete the current season's curve, projecting how many more flu cases there will be over time. Although people don't make very good predictions individually, regardless of their expertise, in aggregates they are often just as good as the machine learning forecast. However, even after learning about such prediction methods, I still want to know how scientists are able to quantify the spread of such diseases. This is when I learned about R-naught. R-naught remains a valuable epidemiologic concept, which describes the intensity of an infectious disease outbreak by calculating the reproductive number of that disease, or the number of new cases that an existing case generates on average over the infectious period in a susceptible population. For example, if we were to calculate this value, all we would do is count how many people were infected in one community when the virus was first spread, and divide that value by how many people they had infected when we returned to this community at some point in the future. So let's say in community 1, 6 people are originally infected. If after a couple of years we come back to this community and see that 3 more people are infected, we would calculate the R-naught value by dividing these 3 infections by the previous 6 to get a value of 0.5. Now let's say we have another community of individuals, and this time again 6 people are infected. However, let's say we come back only a couple weeks later, and this time 12 more people are infected. This time the R-naught value would then be 2. These R-naught estimates have been an important point of characterizing pandemics or large publicized outbreaks, including the 2003 SARS pandemic, the 2009 H1N1 influenza pandemic, and the 2014 Ebola epidemic in West Africa. But what do these values mean? Well, in the 1950s, epidemiologist George MacDonald suggested using R-naught to describe the transmission potential of malaria. He proposed that if R-naught is less than 1, the disease will die out in a population, because on average, an infectious person will transmit to fewer than one other susceptible person. On the other hand, if R-naught is greater than 1, then the disease will spread. The Imperial College Group had estimated that the R-naught value for malaria is somewhere between 1.5 and 3.5, while scientists from the Chinese Academy of Sciences Institute of Automation have estimated R-naught to be much higher at 4.08. These differences are not surprising, as there's much uncertainty about many of the factors that go into estimating R-naught, such as in estimating the number of cases, especially early on in an outbreak. Based on these current estimates, projections of the future number of cases of coronavirus are fraught with high levels of uncertainty and will likely be somewhat inaccurate. But even if we could predict the spread of these diseases, it is up to scientists to use this information in conjugation with new technologies to create new medicines and techniques to prevent the continued survival of this virus. For example, currently Baidu, a Chinese tech giant, had made its linear fold algorithm available to scientific and medical teams fighting the coronavirus outbreak. The linear fold algorithm, published in partnership with Oregon State University and the University of Rochester in 2019, is significantly faster than traditional RNA folding algorithms at predicting a virus's secondary RNA structure, which is important in allowing scientists to better understand the disease and create new targeted medicines. I hope this video helped you to learn more about predicting the spread of diseases and what technologies can be used to prevent that spread.